When you walk onto a campus like Columbia University, you are handed a very specific menu of options: medicine, finance, consulting, or law. Being able to select from these highly coveted paths feels exactly like freedom. You do not have to order from that menu. The catch is that while you can pick any prestigious item you want, you are socially forbidden from leaving the restaurant. You are encouraged to swim in any direction you prefer, as long as you do not break formation. From a young age, the system conditions you to optimize for a perfect grade. You learn that a pristine track record is the only valid goal, which inherently means avoiding any risk where the outcome isn't guaranteed and measurable. By shielding yourself from every possible error to protect a GPA or a resume, you never develop the calluses that come from recovery. You become incredibly proficient at hitting targets, but you lose the resilience required for the moment the targets disappear or the path runs out.
A high school teacher once noted that fear is an active agent of control. It is a tool used by authorities to make ambitious people predictable and easy to manage. To maintain that control, society presents a rigid choice. You are told that you either stay on the approved track, aiming for a safe, high-status destination like Wall Street, or you are headed for the gutter. But the ladder of status has no end. As this chart shows, the moment you reach the top tier, a new, higher bracket immediately materializes above it. There is no actual summit. There is only an endless sequence of people who appear slightly more successful than you. Because you are constantly measuring yourself against the next rung, you never make the lateral moves required to explore life outside the system. You forfeit the time needed to figure out who you actually are. By dedicating all your energy to safely clearing external benchmarks, you guarantee the one outcome you are trying to prevent. You succeed in the eyes of everyone else, but you fail at discovering your own nature. When you walk into a coffee shop, you can choose a latte or a tea, or you can simply turn around and walk out. But most people forget that leaving is an option. Breaking the status trap starts with the difficult act of looking past the menu to see the world that exists outside the restaurant. The moment you try to look away, society throws nets at you. Friends and parents will ask if taking time to travel is self-indulgent, a subtle demand to return to a lucrative trajectory. In Victorian England, Mary Ann Evans, better known as George Eliot, refused to be held by those nets. She announced her loss of religious faith and lived openly with a married man, refusing to conceal her choices. She understood that envisioning a different life is useless without the bravery to act on it. She surrendered her comfortable social standing and endured severe public shunning, and even the silence of her family, to live authentically. Creating your own path means enduring the panic and disapproval of the people around you. You have to be willing to make others uncomfortable by representing values they don't understand or choices they were too afraid to make. Sustaining that independence requires a different relationship with mistakes. As Samuel Beckett famously wrote, the goal isn't to be perfect, but to fail better. Often, this requires a form of willful ignorance toward the odds. You have to deliberately close your eyes to the fear that what you're attempting is impossible, simply because you've never seen it done. There is a difference between mere success, hitting generic external targets, and true excellence. Excellence demands that you endure big, messy, existential mistakes that might take years to work through. If you aren't failing occasionally, your standards aren't actually high enough. You are simply following a script rather than doing the hard work of inventing your life. Inventing your life is not about becoming a specific kind of artist or rebel. It is about making the work itself the goal. It is finding a path that is meaningful to you, regardless of whether it makes you rich or famous. This clarity usually requires a painful negotiation of loyalty. As a child, your relationship with your parents is based on obedience, but becoming an adult means learning how to disappoint them. You have to claim your own life, even if it feels like a betrayal of the path they paved for you. This process turns your 20s into a question mark decade. It is a vital period where taking time off, wandering without a clear objective, and seemingly wasting time are required to test the boundaries of who you are outside of a classroom. You cannot optimize self-discovery. Giving yourself permission to explore aimlessly and disappoint the authority figures in your life is the only structural way to find out what actually fulfills you. This choice comes with heavy costs. Choosing your own path will involve financial compromises, public stumbles, and no guarantees of grandeur. You will blunder and lose heart. But those risks pale against the tragedy of the safe life. To reach the end, never having followed an ideal, and never having thrown your life upon the scales, is a far heavier cost to bear. True maturity is earning the right to make your own mistakes. If you stay on the treadmill, you will still encounter misery and failure. You will just be making the exact same mistakes as everyone else in the herd. In the end, the ultimate grade you receive isn't calculated by the prestige you accrue or the titles you hold. The only real measure of a successful life is whether you had the courage to live one that was truly your own.